Hello everyone and welcome back to Tommy Celtic Talk, where we're a day away from our first home game in the Europa League against Braga, where I'm buzzing for it. We got a good result away from home, and Braga, it's a hard tie, but it's a winnable tie that'd leave us in a good position. So you'd think every Celtic fan going would be buzzing for this game, but I discovered this morning, it must have been from the Green Brigade, something like that. A few channels were chatting about it there, and it was 29 minutes of silence for 29 days of silence, and it's essentially meaning 29 minutes where the likes of the Green Brigade is going to stay silent for 29 minutes in the home game against Braga, as a bit of a fuck you to the board, where they weren't, resigning or coming out and saying sorry for the transfer window. Look, I get it. I wasn't happy with the transfer window. None of us were. We could have definitely done better. But realistically, see if you look into it, other than Dolberg, Balikwisha, we were looking at him for a year and a half. We signed him. He's rubbish. No, well, he might come good, but he's nothing special, is he? Tonekti's actually the better player, and we're giving off about him on deadline day. Iheanacho, we got him for free, and he doesn't look a bad player. But, we got in Angles for 11 million. I hear people saying fucking Matt O'Reilly, we never replaced him. That was essentially a replacement, Angles. It's not really working out at the minute, but you can't really knock the board spending £11 million. And I don't know, I think we all got it right. We're all sort of huffing and puffing about the transfer window, but we're past the transfer window now, and we're into Europe, and we're into the Europa League, which, for me anyway, is a novelty. Champions League, every game we have to be 110% to, if the other team maybe makes about 3 or 4 faults, we might get a win, because it's really a higher level than us, and we have to be at the peak of our powers for the Champions League. And one thing I will say about the Europa League is, I think it's a competition a lot more suited to us, because at the end of the day, we are the fans, aren't we? And we want to see our team doing well in Europe. And that's how I looked at this season. When we got knocked out in the playoffs, I was thinking maybe, we're getting a season here to have a right go at the Europa League. And this is angering me, this 29 minutes of bollocks. I mean, we did it in the Kilmarnock game. Didn't walk out for 12 minutes, the Green Brigade. We walked out for 12 minutes as a big, oh well, we're not gonna be sinning, we're fuck you sort of thing, because you didn't just sack yourself because you signed an Iheanacho and not Dolberg, and they actually started fighting amongst each other, seen on Facebook. Now, I know it's a minority of the fans that did this, but they actually fought amongst each other, the Green Brigade and normal Celtic fans, in the sense of why are you not all coming out with us, the Green Brigade, and standing outside for 12 minutes? In retaliation, it's, well, I'm a Celtic fan and I paid for my ticket and I want to watch my team play. What if they scored the only goal of the game in that 12 minutes and I've paid to go fucking see them, But that's the difference there, and it's really angering me, because Braga is one of the harder games out of the 8 games that we're getting this year in the league phase. And I think, as fans, especially the first home game, I always say the first 15 minutes is when you can scare a team. You can give the Celtic team an extra spring in their step. And for 29 minutes of that half, you're going to have the Green Brigade, which on their day are amazing for what they do with the atmosphere. They're going to be sat there trying to make a point of, why didn't you sack yourselves? Or why didn't you come out with a statement saying, sorry for not buying in Mbappe in the summer fucking transfer window? So what's going to happen is you aren't actually going to solve anything. It just gives Brendan Rodgers and the team an excuse. Because I know if I was Brendan Rodgers, what I would be doing if we lost 1-0 Celtic Park, I'd say, well, we lost a 12th man tonight. And arguably the most important minutes of the game, the first half hour, when you're trying to stomp down your dominance in the game, we had zero fan help. We might as well have been playing an away game because they're trying to make a wee point with themselves here. So look, we've dropped points, and points that could have maybe been corrected if the fans had done what they do best, you know. So I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think they need to catch themselves on, the Green Brigade. They need to realise, look, yes, they're fans just like us, right? And there needs to stop this sort of like divide where, oh, you're not a real Celtic fan if you don't agree with us. We sing songs in the corner. You know what I mean? You aren't spokes people for the rest of the fans. You're just fans yourself. You sing in the corner, and that's fine. We all love it. But that's what you are. You're fans and you sing in the corner. Don't be getting above your station. Is the point I'm trying to come out with here. Don't be getting above your station and thinking like literally you speak for all Celtic fans. Because I know I'd say more than half the Celtic fans will be pissed off. I'd say the majority of Celtic fans would be pissed off when they are waiting for the roar of the crowd and get pumped up and hear silence. And what I would love is the rest of Celtic Park to actually start singing, to annoy the Green Brigade and let them know maybe you're not as special as you think. There was actually word of a few years back of another corner in the ground and starting something similar to Green Brigade, just to basically give them a rival and something from the other side of the park for atmosphere. And I thought it was a good idea, but it sort of takes that sense of power or ego away from them, because this is taking it a step too far. You're doing nothing. The board are never going to leave. They're not going to take anything from you staying silent for 29 minutes. But I'll tell you who it is going to affect. It's going to affect the manager, and it's going to affect the team. Against a team where, look, see if we win this game, look, I look at it like this, you know, fucking we chat about like board and money, you know, I look at it because I'm a fan. I look at it as like, what can we achieve each season? And top 8 would be amazing in the Europa League. It's actually a lot more important than the Champions League, because it actually takes you out of a round. You don't have to do the last 32, you're straight into the last 16 if you get into that top 8, you know. So that's one tie away from the quarter-final. So if we get 4 points out of 6 with Storm Graz or whatever the fuck you call them in the next round, where we'll be heavy favourites in that game, this is a must-win. If you're seriously thinking about top 8, you need to be winning this game, and this is where the fans need to come in. This is where the fans are clutch. And we'll see tomorrow night. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the Celtic players can ignore the Green Brigade and their ways and get the job done. Because as a Celtic fan myself, I think it's the biggest load of bollocks. But anyway, that's my views on it. I'll leave you with a video of what the fans did. What would it be now? About 23 years ago, 22 years ago, and Seville. I think we've got a bit cocky of ourselves recently, and we think we're above the Europa League or something like that. But look at these Celtic fans here who were one game away from history. One game got into extra time with FC Porto and could have won the second European trophy in our whole existence as a club. And we've got a season that we could do something like that. Who's in the competition? Aston Villa, Roma. They're the 2 favourites in the bookies. You think in-form Celtic, with the fans behind them, luck of a draw in a final, we couldn't do something against either of them teams? Of course we could. But the negativity needs to stop, because that's what separates Celtic from the rest. Just separates Celtic from the likes of Rangers, Rangers' best season, arguably, was that season they won the league when there was no fans on the ground, because the negativity from the fans throughout the years, we were getting the better of them. And you seen after COVID, when the fans came back, sure, the fans, all they do is give off like fuck every game. But sure, look at the state of Rangers team, because they can't stand the fans and the fans can't stand them, but they expect them to somehow get results while they're booing. And fucking whoever fucking the name is at the time, get the fuck. Yeah, I know it's Russell Martin now, but like fucking they were turning on the players for years. But that's what I mean. You don't want to be going down that route as Celtic fans, especially Celtic, who've been serial winners. These players, serial winners. I've seen a lot of talk about Callum McGregor, you know, these style fucking players who've been winning us trophies non-stop for years. Let's not forget what they've done. Let's get behind them. We are Celtic supporters. We want what's best for them. Well, fucking this negativity, it isn't going to work for them, is it? But I'll leave you with that video anyway. Hail, hail.